Estimated numbers from the 2020 census are in, and they contain some tough news for Michigan.
Dearborn Heights mourns the sudden loss of its mayor to complications from COVID-19. Today, Dan Paletko is remembered as a dedicated public servant.
And beloved Wayne County Sheriff Benny Napoleon is memorialized by community leaders from all over in a socially distanced funeral. Thanks for being with us for the news at 5. There have been so many glowing tributes to Benny Napoleon since his passing on December 17th.
It has been a constant stream of inspiring and funny personal stories. Today, we got to hear more as the private funeral for the late Wayne County Sheriff was streamed publicly.
Victor Williams is live with a look at the ceremony, which had a different feel than most. Victor.
Yes, that's right. You can still feel the sense of grief in the air here at Greater Emmanuel, but this is definitely a man that's going to be missed. The homegoing celebration for Sheriff Benny Napoleon took place in front of a private group of family and friends, all waiting to say their final goodbyes.
Many lives have been touched by the life and legacy of our beloved Benny Napoleon. There's probably not a place big enough in town that if everybody could come, you probably wouldn't be able to fit us in one building.
Leaders from all over paid their respects virtually, from Police Chief James Craig.
Benny was someone who was not just a colleague, but a friend, a mentor to many, a man of integrity, a public servant, courageous leader, and someone who was regarded as one of Detroit's favorite sons.
To Mayor Duggan.
Benny touched the lives of people in this city in a rare and special way. In 2000, when I was running for prosecutor, Benny would tutor me, and he kept telling me if the police chief and the prosecutor ever worked together, we could get the violence down and give the people of Detroit the safe city they deserve.
And Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
Benny Napoleon was a special guy. He was a humble man who would brag on everyone he loved, and he loved a lot of people. And that was returned many times over. His warm smile, eager hand, and honest heart was rooted in his faith.
But perhaps the most touching testimonials came from the women who cherished him the most.
He believed that as long as he had breath in him, we could do anything. Rest in paradise, my handsome prince. I love you. I always have, and I always will.
My life will forever be incomplete from this day forward. This is someone who I spoke to every single day, multiple times a day, and I enjoyed it. Rest well, Daddy. You did an amazing job.
And what a legacy to leave behind. Tiffany Jackson, the woman that you just heard of, she wants to give special thanks to the Wayne County Sheriff's Department for never leaving her side since her father passed away. For now, we are reporting live tonight. Victor Williams, Local 4.
It'll be a huge loss for our community. Victor, we appreciate it.
Another community leader is lost to the coronavirus. Dan Paletko, the mayor of Dearborn Heights, died late Tuesday from complications associated with COVID-19. He was 70 years old, and he had a year left in his term as mayor. Nick Monticelli has more on the impact Mayor Paletko made and how people are reacting to his sudden death.
Good evening. I talked to a few colleagues in the Dearborn Heights City Hall. They say that Paletko was very careful about COVID-19, and they don't know where he got it from. In fact, when he went to the hospital on Monday, he thought he had pneumonia.
Hello, I'm Mayor Dan Paletko.
In what could very well be the last recording of Dan Paletko, the mayor wished Dearborn Heights residents happy holidays and shared his thoughts on the year that's been.
This has been a year like no other for all of us, and the most challenging and difficult in my political career.
That video was posted to Facebook on December 17th. His colleagues say just this past Monday he went into the hospital thinking he had pneumonia.
He had gone into the hospital on Monday and for what he thought was pneumonia, and had some just minor issues, not even close to thinking it's anything COVID related, only to find out later that night that he had unfortunately COVID and passed away late last night.
Paletko was 70 years old and served as the mayor here since his appointment in 2004. He left his post in Michigan's House of Representatives to take over, but before that, he was a longtime member of the Dearborn Heights City Council. Before public service, Paletko worked at Ford, where he was a financial manager. He had degrees from U of M, Wayne State, and the University of Detroit. Councilman Dave Abdullah says the mayor could have stayed in the private sector with a much larger salary.
He could have had any job he'd have wanted, intellect-wise, but he didn't. He chose to serve the community and serve the city, and he served it very, very humbly. He did some very, very nice things for the city. He ran it professionally, he ran it well, and he ran it with his all. He gave it his all.
Now, Mayor Paletko leaves behind 2 daughters. Both of them are in their 30s. I'm Nick Monticelli, Local 4.
All right, Nick, with Mayor Paletko's untimely death, someone else has stepped forward to fulfill his duties in Dearborn Heights. City Council Chairwoman Denise Malinowski Maxwell was sworn in this afternoon as interim mayor. According to the city charter, Maxwell will serve as mayor until the council appoints someone to serve the remainder of Paletko's term.
Now to the latest in coronavirus numbers and the state's final update of the year. Michigan reports 4,222 new cases today and 51 more deaths. Because of the holiday, the next update will be Saturday. In 2020, Michigan reported more than 488,000 cases and more than 12,000 deaths. And as we end the year, some of the numbers are improving. The state's 7-day average for daily cases has steadily decreased. And the state says there's been a decrease in weekly deaths. Also, now more than 86,000 people have received a COVID vaccine.
Time to check the weather, and Paul has been talking about something called storm number 2.
Yeah, so Paul, how's this going to compare to storm number 1 that we saw last night?
Yeah, it's going to kind of be deja vu all over again, maybe a little bit less on the snow side, but maybe a little bit more in terms of the length. We'll talk more about that in about 10-15 minutes. Right now, Storm Tracker 4 shows the cold front coming through the area. You see the rain, and also if you look back to the southwest there are actually a few wet snowflakes, so there could be a few wet snowflakes that move into the south zone, but this is not going to be anything that'll have any impact. So 4-zone weather in Wayne County, look at this. We are in the 40s now, 43 in Taylor, 43 in Detroit, 38 in Saline in our south zone, 40 in Dundee, 37 at Adrian. We have 38 at Whitmore Lake, 35 in Howell behind the cold front. You see the temperatures dropping there. And in our north zone, 37 Sandusky, Melvin, Deckerville at 34 degrees. So through the evening hours, we're going to be falling. The areas to the south falling into the 30s. Those of you in the 30s will fall lower into the 30s, but it should be a mainly dry evening once this rain moves out of here in the next couple of hours. We'll be back to talk about storm number 2 in just a few seconds, but don't forget, the Local Forecasters app has live radar this morning. You would have had so much fun with it just watching all the different changes from snow to freezing rain to rain. It's free. Just download it from the App Store, search under WDIV, and it's the best weather app in the nation. See you in a few minutes, guys.
We'll see you, Paul. Thank you. Well, that desperately needed COVID relief is finally reaching Americans, but there may not be more where that came from anytime soon. Democrats' efforts to get more aid to folks who need it is being hamstrung on Capitol Hill. That's where we find Susan McGinnis, who has the latest.
Well, as the prospect of extra COVID aid for Americans fades, some here on Capitol Hill are looking to the new year, a new Congress, and a new administration to make it happen. Americans hoping the next round of COVID relief will balloon from $600 to $2,000 may end up disappointed.
I am concerned we will deliver nothing more beyond the bill that's already been signed into law.
Democrats' efforts to pump up the checks shut down by Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, some Republicans calling the move unnecessary.
Most people who want to be working actually are working, and most Americans have not, at this point, are not experiencing a reduction in their income.
They are in denial of the hardship that the American people are experiencing now.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi calling on the Senate to approve the higher payments. McConnell offering his own bill with the increase, but with 2 more items President Trump demands. It establishes a voter fraud commission and removes protections for tech firms like Facebook and Twitter for the content they publish. Democrats rejecting that bill, looking to the next Congress for more relief. The makeup of that Congress hinging on 2 critical Georgia runoffs next week, which will determine which party controls the Senate. Ahead of that vote, Georgia announces its audit of the presidential election found no fraud.
I would also note for the record as well that during the course of the audit, there were no fraudulent absentee ballots identified.
Georgia confirming a Joe Biden win as the president-elect lays the groundwork for a new administration. While the current president continues to insist without evidence he won Georgia and all the swing states big. The Senate has one more vote coming up. It's expected to override the president's veto of a bill funding the U.S. military, considered a rebuke of the president in his final days in office. In Washington, Susan McGinnis, Local 4.
All right, Susan. Preliminary census numbers from Michigan suggest the state's clout, both in Washington and the Electoral College, is about to take a hit. Our Mara McDonald is live in Troy tonight. Mara, politicos across the state had anticipated we could lose a congressional seat, and it looks like they might be right.
Well, Jace, yeah, and here's the thing. So it's not that Michigan lost population. We had a very modest 1% increase. It's just that the national average everywhere else is above 6%. To be clear, the final census numbers are not official, but the preliminary ones look like this. This state has 9,986,857 people here now versus 9,884,116 in 2010. So it's a very modest increase. Cities like Detroit and Flint lost population. The latest estimate for Detroit is 670,031. That's down from 713,898. All this means it's probable when our congressional map gets redrawn, the state loses a seat. Whose seat it is based on a lot of conjecture right now, but most political types in the state think it would be the seat Andy Levin is in. And with the loss of that congressional seat comes a loss of electoral votes. We'd go from 16 to 15. Back here live, that congressional map is expected to get redrawn next year. And as far as response rates to the census, Michigan came in at about 71%. That's pretty good. The city of Detroit at 51%. We're live in Troy tonight. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Yeah. All right, Mara, thanks.
Governor Whitmer signs bills that could be a game changer for college athletes. The bills will let college athletes profit off their name, image, and likeness. They stop schools from keeping students from playing or from taking away scholarships if those students profit from promotional deals. Michigan is one of the first states to allow athletes to do this. The bills go into effect at the end of 2022.
We're back at 5 with people's homes in danger, left teetering on the edge by a mudslide. We'll show you where this happened.
Plus, he's been a key figure in Detroit sports and entertainment while remaining largely outside the spotlight. We look at the remarkable career of Tom Wilson as he gets ready to retire.